What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back into the Madhouse. I have another gameplay commentary, but this one you will not want to miss because I am joined by the one and only JDRR again. So if you're trying to win a mat, watch this video because if you learned something for Blurple, this one's on purple steel. And man, if you guys thought he had great advice, just wait till you see all the knowledge bombs that he drops with purple steel. But this one's really neat because purple steel can go in a lot of different directions. But for this video, we talk about all those different directions. So we spend the first kind of 10-15 minutes talking about the three different deck lists that you can run with purple steel and why you might run them into certain metas that you might have or what kind of your play style is with that. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoy the video. Let's get into it. What's going on, Illumineers, and welcome back. And we have another gameplay commentary, and I'm joined again by the one and only purple, let's call him the purple sensei, JDRR. What's going on, man?
I'm good. How you doing, Cody?
Hey, I'm doing good. It's Monday, and it's chest day at the gym for all my gym bros. So it's a good Monday, I will say. And I'm joined by you. So what more could I ask for? How's your Monday treating you, man?
It's good, man. It's good. We just wrapped up a good weekend of seeing more people winning set champs,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure you'll cover in a different video
Oh,
with
yeah.
interesting decks, new builds, things like that. So just happy to see everyone's success. And also, appreciate you having me on again. And I also glad to see that the previous video that we did going through your gameplay with Blurple helped a lot of people as well.
Oh yeah, no, and that's like it's been wild the amount of messages and comments that I've seen about appreciation for you coming on for that video and giving such great information. The amount of crap my locals gave me as well when they like they watched the video and they're like, "Dude, he makes you sound like you've never played Lorcana before." And I was like, "Well, I felt like it." So it's been good. No, it's been awesome to see so many people win and so many people win scars for the first time and mats for the first time. And
Mhm.
owing a lot of it to that video, but also the free guide and just all the help that you give out in the 20 lore page. So that's why I wanted, we talked and was like, let's do a purple steel one and help even more people because I'll get this live probably tomorrow. So it'll give people plenty of time before the last set champs and we can see even more scars and playmats come home. So it's pretty
Sounds good.
awesome. Oh yeah. So I figured we'll just jump into it. But the thing about Blurple versus Purple Steel is Blurple, there's some different ways you can go about it, but there's really kind of one main direction. But Purple Steel, we have three different directions that we can go. And depending on what direction you go, a lot of it might determine on kind of your play style you want to play, maybe your local meta, or maybe you just really hate losing to red blue, so you want to play one that beats red blue. So I've got three of them here. I've got one that is the Doc version. I've got one that is a Rabbit version with Zeus, and I've got one that is a Tinkerbell version. So I thought let's start off with this, and then we'll get into the gameplay. And I thought, why don't you talk to us about what version people might want to run based off of metas, gameplay, game style, things like that. So take her away.
Yeah, for sure. So, the great thing about Purple Steel is that it's always been kind of like um, we can call it an anti-meta deck, right? Because it has a whole bunch of tools that um, you can tech in. There's a lot of tech cards because of Steel and Purple, right? Because like if we take a look at the deck, right? Like every purple deck runs the same good purple cards. Like those are you're never cutting those, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the benefit that steel gives you is that it allows you to play a lot lower to the ground, a lot faster compared to other colors when paired with purple. And it gives you like cheap removal so that you can actually deal with aggro. Which is why I personally think that purple steel is probably the best deck to play for set champs. And I know I play a lot of Purple Steel, so I'm not being biased here. I've never said ever in my life in the first five sets of Lorcana that Purple Steel would be the best deck to play at set champs.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I would say that because there's so much aggro, so much like diggy holes.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a lot of red blue, which is the hardest matchup in my opinion for this deck. So if you take that out of the equation, like what is really threatening the deck, right? You don't have any bad matchups
Mm-hmm.
in general. Um, so yeah, that's purple steel in a nutshell. So the first list here we have, which is the dock build. This is the lowest to the ground build, and so this was something new that we kind of created this set because if you remember last set, when you play dock, you just assume it's an aggro deck, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
purple steel aggro with dock, fire the cannons and all stuff like that.
Yep.
But what we found out was that, well, what happened with purple this set was that because you have so many good one drops, the best one drops in the game, you also have the best two drops in the game, Calhoun Smee.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have roses and genie, right? So with all these new cards added in, you get so much lore pressure that you are just as fast, almost as fast as the pure aggro version, because the only difference now is Maleficent, the one cost, Maleficent, that quest for two. But the difference is that you don't run an uninkable card that's good in certain matchups and not good in other matchups. And
Mm-hmm.
you know me, I don't like uninkable cards that are or that are tech cards because you can't get rid of them if you draw them at the wrong time,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
if you draw a Maleficent one and you are facing a Cinderella,
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. That
it's
feels
a bad
bad.
time, right?
Yeah.
Feels very bad. So I just don't like. That's why I also don't have Fire the Cannons in here because
Mm-hmm.
although it is very good against aggro and you could play Fire the Cannons, but it's not something that you can just get rid of if it's not the right matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing that Purple Steel is best at is just being very consistent at doing what it does. So back to the deck though. This set we figured out that we can play because you're almost as fast. You're able to play a very mid-rangey style dock deck
Mm-hmm.
with purple steel that you're able to go fast, but you can also kind of slow the game down and control it if you need to. So it's not like aggro or nothing kind of thing.
Yep. Okay.
And that's why you can see here it's like very much so has all like the mid-range cards like Elsa, um, and you know all your bounce package because Doc
Mm-hmm.
before didn't really play bounce package outside of Fox,
That's right. Yeah, we had
right?
cut snakes. Mm-hmm.
They didn't play Snake,
Yep.
right? And they only played like two crabs. They didn't play Elsa because it's too expensive. They didn't play Rabbit because Rabbit and Doc conflicts with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then their spells were Fire the Cannons and Befuddles,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. And so when we're building this list, we realized that this deck, because it is probably the king of tempo decks, and it's the best deck against anything that's not red,
Mm-hmm.
because all you need to do is play Doc, you know, draw two cards, bounce Doc with something, play Doc again, and then your board just gets so incredibly wide, and you can be so reckless with it and just keep throwing characters and vomiting characters and just going ridiculously wide, right? And the
Mm-hmm.
decks just can't keep up with it. So if you think about like um the mines deck, Amber Steel Mines, like the
Mm-hmm.
aggro one with Doc.
Yep.
It's like when they play Doc after Doc, it's like kind of backbreaking, right? Because you're just like, man, I have another two, three characters I need to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
But then with this deck, you technically have like 12 Docs because you have the Foxes and like the Meta Mim, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
right? You can bounce and reuse Doc. And then it just gets really ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
It is a drug, right? When when you play it and you get that high of chaining a dog.
Mm-hmm.
I think you mentioned that before,
Yep.
which is why this deck is so good against things that aren't red because they can't board clear you.
Mm-hmm.
So you just keep playing stuff.
Oh yeah. No, it's
Yeah.
so the commentary today for everyone is going to be on a Tinkerbell version, but I did play the dock version and I put it in our Discord, the Flower Farm Discord immediately afterwards because I had chained like four docks. It was the most disgusting, nasty thing I think I've ever done, and I'm a Steel Song player. Like, we
It's
do a
so
lot of.
fun though.
It is so much fun. Because you're chaining these docks, you're drawing two cards. Meanwhile, you're getting down a 3/3 or a 4/3 to trade. It's oh god, it was so good. So
Right. And so going back to this, this is the deck. This is the list that Patrick used at
mhm
the North American Continentals to get top four, right?
mhm
hmm and so the reason why we built to this one as well is because it's great against everything except red blue.
yeah
Like that is your only bad matchup. Everything else you're either 50-50 or you're favored. So a deck like this with more polarizing matchups like that is really good for a best of two format because you're able to get 2-0s a lot easier than say playing like the rabbit list, which is a much more even matchup spread where you're 50-50 against everything, but you're not actually favored into anything.
mhm Well, speaking of the rabbit list, let's take
Hmm.
a look at it. So,
So the
so
rabbit list, as you can see, it's almost the same as
yep.
it's literally almost the same deck.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is that you switch out genies for rabbit because in the dock list you don't want a lot of cards in hand because you
Mm-hmm.
want to play dock. Whereas this one you use rabbit because you want to maintain resources, right? You just want to keep your hand size up. And rabbit is the best Zeus singer since set three.
Mm-hmm.
Like people that didn't know, we've been playing rabbit and four rabbits for Zeus since set three in purple steel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like a new phenomenon that like suddenly we do this. We've always been doing this with rabbit. The only reason why I didn't play this one as much this set is because it just feels too fair, too 50-50,
Mm-hmm.
and it's hard to get like two O's,
Yeah.
right? Although it is very good against red blue because they play shark and you
Mm-hmm.
just Zeus the shark, right? You sing Zeus with rabbit, he'll take out the shark, you bounce the rabbit back, draw cards, and then kind of keep going, right?
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of the game plan for this one. So this one's more about control mid range. And so if your local meta is heavy red blue, I would definitely recommend playing this one just because you have access to Zeus um,
Yeah.
and rabbits, and just having more card draw and Zeus, for example, is how you take out red blue.
Yeah.
But like I said before, it's very 50-50.
Mm-hmm.
And it's you really have to work for all your wins. Like you don't have free wins like the dock one.
Yeah. No, it's and I could see that. In this, I could definitely see why this is better into red blue as well. I mean, even the Pete. If you go Pete, it shuts down, the shark in a way because then you're on your three
Hmm.
characters, and then you lay down your fourth character, and you know, like so the rabbit of course being able to punish board wipes and the Zeus of course answering shark. So I definitely see that. And um I think I remember when I first started playing, you talked about the rabbit Zeus and just how that was your way to kind of claw back into the game because it
Hmm.
gave you that opportunity to deal 5 damage. So no,
Yep.
so I like it. So if you have a heavy red blue meta, possibly leaning this way, but sacrificing win percentage and everything else, going that heavy 50-50 route and everything else. And then finally though, we have our Tink version, which is running rabbits and genies and also Tinkerbell. So
Hmm.
talk to us about this one.
So this is something that I really wanted to play at the beginning of set six once Tinkerbell was announced, right?
Mhm.
Because we finally have a good Tinkerbell that's playable.
Mhm.
And so this list is very good. It's like almost the same matchup spread as the dock list, except you are slightly weaker into red blue
Mhm.
because you don't have Zeus, and everything also gets taken up by Sisu,
Mhm.
unfortunately. And you don't have a real good answer for Shark.
Mhm.
However, if your local meta is full of aggro or green decks or anything like that, like this deck is the one to play because the thing is, you have a very disgusting curve that you can play. So, for example, any one drop into a Smee, into Tinkerbell, into Genie. So, most decks are like, oh, Tinkerbell, we got to get rid of it. But then if they remove Tinkerbell, you play Genie. Or if they wait for Genie, then Tinkerbell keeps questing, right?
Mhm.
And the shift Tinkerbell poses a shift threat all the time. So it's
Mhm.
not like they can just leave it forever. And they also can't quest into it because if they do quest, they could potentially get punished by Tinkerbell, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then the other synergy that people don't know or don't often see with this is if you have the 6 cost Tinkerbell on the board, what you can do is you can play Elsa and force people to
Yes.
be exerted, and then you start attacking in, right? And that's
Yes.
like one of the ways that you can break the stalemates, especially against the Amber Steel or something like that.
Mhm. That is actually
And so,
sorry,
yeah,
I was gonna say that's actually one of the things that happened in the game we're gonna commentate on is I had shift Tinkerbell
nice.
down and then shifted Elsa and ultimately took away any opportunity they had to win at that point.
Right. Yeah, and if your opponents are not ready for all these evasive cards, you can just evasive cheese them and they can't do anything. It's just Tinkerbell Genie turns sideways until you get to 20.
Yep. Oh yeah. No, and I've been on the receiving end of that. A couple locals ago, I ran Blue Steel just for funsies, and they dropped Tinkerbell into Genie, and that night I went home and I put blue steel back in the binder, and I was like, I will never lose to that again. It was awful. So no, so it's funny you mentioned not as good into red blue, and then this is the list, or very similar to this, of what we will be commentating over. And then lo and behold, I go to locals with it, and my second opponent is on red blue. And I very much noticed the lack of rabbits, or not rabbits, the lack of roses.
Rose.
That
Mm.
that was probably the thing I felt more than anything else, was the lack of rose. Just that easy lore, almost guaranteed two lore, because it's a 3/3, so they can't clear it easily. Um,
Yep.
but I did still get the win. It was 2-1, I believe, on the draw. And that's important to note, because like you said, if they clear Tinkerbell, then you play Genie, and they probably don't have a second brawl, and then you still have goats and rabbits, which is just
Mm-hmm.
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But
Oh, there should be one thing I should mention to everyone. So when I say that something isn't good into a specific matchup, like we're talking about at the highest level.
mm-hmm,
If you're playing like the top red blue players, for example, or the top amber steel players. But like when you are local, obviously not everyone is playing at the highest level, right? So
mm-hmm.
you could easily still squeak out wins like that against unfavored matchups as long as you play it smart.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
And that was, I think that was a big piece of it. And one thing to note too is this is the only one under running single digit uninkables. So
Yep.
if you want a lot, if you don't want many uninkables, this might be the one for you. So, and even your uninkables that you have, that six of them are drawing you cards. Three of them are the one of the strongest two drops in the game. So
Mhm.
it's feeling pretty good. So. Well, sweet.
Yeah.
So like I mentioned, the gameplay that we'll be going over today, it's going to be Amber Steel versus me on Purple Steel, and it is a list very similar to this. This is the list that we're on today is going to be this one for everybody. It's running two Zeuses, and it is on. So two Zeuses is the big difference, and then we swapped the genie and rabbit numbers. Um, in this variation. So we just decided that, or I don't, there's no we. JD decided that there was just better, more optimal ways to go about these different routes, and
Hmm.
this is where we ended up, and this is where we were at. So with that,
Yep.
um, anything to add before we jump into the gameplay?
Not really. I think we're good.
All right, let's jump into it then. I'll pause it on the Mulligan and
Sounds
see
good.
what
Sounds good.
happens. So this was a best of three. I lost the dice roll, as I did every dice roll this night at locals at Safari Zone Collectibles.
It's all
And
right.
this is blind as well. I did not know what she was going to be on. I know that she normally plays red purple, um, but she had mentioned she wasn't playing that tonight. So other than that, I don't know what she is on. Um, so
Okay.
so this is what we got. Looks like a crab, broom, Pete, Smee, Fox, a crab, I think, and a Zeus.
Mm.
So looking at this, completely blind, not knowing. Of course, I want my one drop, and I'm happy to see the 1, 2, and a 3 between the crab and the fox. So I think looking at it, I would like to keep the broom, Smee, and then a fox or a crab. Now, for you, if you had to make a choice between fox or crab, is there one that you typically prefer over the other?
On the draw, I'm keeping both.
Okay, all right. Now,
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
so why does it change on the draw versus on the play?
That's because on the draw, you want all the cards that can help you fight for a board, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Crab and Fox is what allows you to do that because your one drops obviously don't fight for the board,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
And so that's why you want Crab and Fox depending on the situation. And sometimes, especially for example, against something like Amber Steel, you need more than just a Crab or Fox, right?
Okay.
You need
Yep.
multiple.
Okay. And it looks like that's what I. Oh, wait. Second guessing myself. Yeah, it looks like that's
However,
what I
if you're
did.
blind, I would have kept the Pete as well,
Just in case they were Amber Steel.
in
Or
case of a steel deck, right?
yeah.
Because if say it's because you can always just ink it,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but when
exactly.
you're blind, it's important to just keep it. And so you right here, you if you had Pete, you would have drawn to a strength, and then you could have comboed it to hit something, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
but
No.
that's fine.
Yep. And that makes a lot of sense though. Like you said, if it's not steel, then it's an easy ink. It's not a card that I'm really going to need, and it guarantees me a way on the draw to come back into the game because I can go one, two, Pete, and then strength. So it makes a lot of sense, especially knowing that SteelSong's 3 drop is most likely an aerial. So so to be
Or
able to,
Lawrence.
oh yeah, or a Lawrence. So um, it guarantees me that opportunity to get rid of those big cards. So
Because now you're kind of stuck. So now they show probably Amber Steel. Who
mm-hmm.
else plays one cost Simba,
Yeah,
right?
yep, yep. So
Yeah, yeah,
unless you're Lamb Chops, Lamb, or, I don't know if you saw his blue steel list, but he was on Simba in his
yeah.
blue
Blue
steel
Steel.
list. But we're definitely not all Lamb around here. So all right.
And so it's just like it kind of forces you a little bit into like awkward inking
Mm-hmm.
decisions just because of kind of just what you
Yeah.
drew into.
Yep. Now I inked
Yeah.
Tinkerbell there
Uh,
because
mhm.
I don't have shift line, and ultimately a 1/3 is not going to help me trade for anything. So that's
No, it doesn't do anything on the draw, which
okay.
is you made the right decision there.
Okay.
Just because like the card doesn't do anything if you don't have
Mm-hmm.
the shift line, right?
Yep.
Like you can try baiting your opponent saying that, "Oh, I do have the shift line."
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, what if they take the they don't take the bluff and they just quest and then
Mm-hmm.
you're just dead.
Yeah. Yep. Another Tinkerbell.
Yeah.
So probably ink that. No, I think I inked my Smee, which I should have held on to.
Yeah, I probably would have held on to the Smee just because
Mm-hmm.
it's something that you can play on turn 5 with
Yep.
one of your 3 drops and like Crab and Smee or Fox and Smee or something like that.
All right. See, I'm learning from our Blurple commentary. I would have
You are
quested
learning. We're
there.
not questing. We're not drawing off our 1 drops.
Yeah. Slowly but surely, right?
Yep.
All right. I'm glad they didn't play that Pete. Not, I guess it wouldn't have mattered. All right, I do have a strength, but they wouldn't have needed it yet. So yeah, Smee, that
Yeah.
Smee works really well there. Um, and this is
Okay.
yeah, my crab is excited at this point. So
Wait, they
because
played a Smee. Oh, okay. Got
yeah
it.
they played a Smee. So that is
You're just
three
drawing all your Tinkerbells
Tinkerbells.
here.
Yep. So so I was really excited about this because it gives me the opportunity now to trade to make some really good trades here
Yep.
because of the broom, which I probably going back I probably would have quested or banished that. So another reminder, your one
Hmm.
drops, everybody in purple, are everything. So
Your 1 drops are basically 4 3s. They're not one
yes,
twos.
yes, there we go. Now this part right here. So I went crab, but I also had fox in hand, and I went crab because it guarantees my broom lives, um, and it also gives me a 3/3 on the board. Would you have preferred to go fox over?
No, you definitely don't Fox here
Okay.
because you'll be stuck with you'll be stuck with 1 character on the board.
Okay. All right.
Whereas going
Perfect.
with Crab, you get to keep 2 characters out.
Yeah.
Except you don't. Oh yeah, sorry. No, you're right. You did it right. I thought you attacked Broom into the Simba.
The Simba. Yeah. Yep. No,
I was like, I hope you don't do that.
I'm glad I did something right. So all right.
No, this is so far so good.
Okay. Perfect.
Yep. Yep. And so it's just like if you had the Pete, it's like if they did play an aerial or something that could sing
Mm-hmm.
on turn 3, then you would just Pete instead of the Crab, right? But
Yeah.
then they didn't do that, so then you wouldn't need the Pete here. So then that's where Crab comes in. And they
Mm-hmm.
trade here, which is
Perfect.
fine.
Yep.
Which I think they should have just quested anyway because you get two lore, they get two lore.
Yeah.
With the Smee?
That's a
Yeah.
good point. All
Mhm.
right, plays a Rapunzel.
And that couldn't have been the best card they could play. But we'll take it. We'll take it.
Probably ink the third Tinkerbell. Yep. And
Yep.
then drop, hopefully drop a genie. Yeah.
Should be Genie. Yep.
Now, when would you go rabbit over genie? Like, if they had a
If
bunch
I
of
needed card
singers?
draw,
Okay. All right.
yeah. If I needed stuff, if I needed to either draw cards or so basically, Genie is because you can pressure. You don't need to fight for the board.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
You don't quest here though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's because ultimate just gives her Rapunzel value, right? And that was my
Yep.
a big mistake there. Of
You're an Amber Steel player. You
I
should
know
know this
I
by
should have
now.
known better. So I guess I was hoping she just wouldn't have another, but yeah, that was very
Did she?
very bad. I don't remember actually. So we're about to find out if I get
We'll find
punished.
out.
So
And that's why Genie is so good because you can just keep questing it into them and they can't do
mm-hmm.
anything.
Yep. All right. I'm assuming at this point she doesn't have another Rapunzel because I would have done that so fast. Like, all right. Then okay.
Lucky. Very
Mm-hmm.
lucky.
Very, very lucky. That was a very bad move on my part. All for one lore. So, okay. So
So,
here I'm thinking.
with purple steel or purple decks in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Usually turn 1 to 4 is very linear as opposed to what you do. But then after this is like that's when the decisions start to happen, right?
Yep. Because
Yeah.
here what I'm thinking about is she played a Rapunzel, just a
Hmm.
dry Rapunzel, and then a Robin Hood on turn 5, which I'm assuming she's stuck with wheels in her hand. And
Hmm.
so here I'm thinking I can do Elsa. I almost played the rabbit, but then I was like, well, if I go Elsa, I can do Crab and Elsa into the Robin Hood. Now,
Hmm.
is that kind of the right route you think of just focusing? Well, actually,
I think that's perfectly valid to do that.
I
Um,
yeah okay.
like there's two ways you can go about it here. You can either just keep developing your board and keep going wider because you're already ahead in that
Mm-hmm.
aspect. So you don't even need to trade, really. The other option is what you did here is to take out the singer so they can't do anything.
Yeah,
Or they have to hard cast wheel.
and then we'll trade then. Yep. Okay. And
Me
then
personally, I
I bring it
also
back.
doesn't die.
Yeah, I know. I bring
Oh.
it. Yeah, I'm about to bring it back. So I think I get distracted by the GoPro sometimes, and I
Fair enough.
don't. That should be 3.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah, that should
bounced it
be
in a
three.
second, but
But
go ahead. Go ahead.
no, yeah. I was gonna say that I probably would have just developed the board further instead.
Okay. And said play a
Because if they
wheel.
sing Whole New World with Robin Hood, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are they really doing after that?
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. So and just go wide because okay, no, and that makes a lot of sense because I could have played rabbit and broom,
Yep.
and
Just go
then
wider.
yep,
Against Eversteel, you just want to go wider than them.
yeah, because it's very easy for them to clear one or two characters at a time. Like for example, now they have the board. So
Right. Whereas we should have had 4 characters out right now.
mm,
Or
okay, and
three
then
after they
yep,
hit you with it.
and then I'd still have Elsa, so I'd be able to clear the Naveen here, um, because I would have gone rabbit and broom, right? And then I'd have genie,
Hmm.
rabbit, broom. They played that, probably
You
taken
could
out
also just
genie.
sing strength.
Yep, and that's yeah, exactly. So okay, so go wide, make it harder. Yep. So
Yeah, because SteelSong doesn't have board wipes. They just hit one thing at a time. So if you
mm-hmm.
play many things, they can't hit everything.
Yep, that should be a 4 now. But
Yeah. And then now you're kind of stuck in an awkward position,
mm-hmm.
having to attack the Rapunzel.
And then having this
And
wasted
then you also
ink.
have to ink.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's where like holding that Smee earlier would have also helped.
Yep. Oh yeah.
that we inked.
We have,
Yeah,
yeah.
because we could have just like thrown it in here.
Mm-hmm. Now
Mhm.
I think so. I inked the strength there. Do you think? And I think later on I get punished for that, but I got that tunnel vision on hopefully getting that Tinkerbell down. But ultimately, at this point in the game, I don't know if the Tinkerbell really matters. Would you have inked the Tinkerbell over the strength, or
Yeah, I would have inked it.
okay?
They're both not very good in this position
Mm-hmm.
currently. Hmm. Okay. Yep. And it just goes back. If we had more characters on the board, we'd be
Yep.
in an okay spot here.
I think I do go wide here with the Rabbit Diablo. Well, I don't. I think I'm debating. Yeah. So
Hmm.
because at this point I could just go Rabbit Diablo or Rabbit and see what else I draw and start developing
Hmm.
something. Nope, I just
Hmm.
slammed the Tinkerbell and say I hope you don't
And the
have a
other
Zeus.
thing, yeah, for sure. The other thing though is that a Rapunzel on the board is not that threatening
Mm-hmm.
on her own because she doesn't really do a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't think there was a need to even attack Rapunzel in that situation.
Yeah.
Like you would just keep developing board, and then you could have just just develop board last turn.
Okay, this is why I went. So she only had one card in hand, and it was that.
Mm.
And then this, I mentioned it earlier. I think that I went in Elsa into Tinkerbell route. So, or Elsa to shift a target. And I think that's what's about to happen, and that's why I
Mm.
ultimately went this route of developing the Tinkerbell over developing the Rabbit and Diablo.
Hmm.
But so I made a gamble, and it paid off, luckily. So
Yeah, that's good.
yep. All right, we'll take that trade because she's top decking now, and I'm in a good
Mm.
position at
I
this
honestly
point.
would have
So
just ran Elsa into the Naveen and called it a day.
just okay,
Because like, it's not very threatening right now. You
yeah,
take the Naveen off the board, the Smee doesn't do anything,
mm-hmm,
and Tinkerbell already freezes the board, and then
yeah,
I can just keep developing, right?
okay. No, and so would you quest it with Tinkerbell or just left her to freeze the board?
No, just leave it.
Okay,
Just
all
leave
right,
it. I would have left it. Yeah,
yeah. Then
because you're not like in a situation where you actually are pressured.
mm-hmm,
Uh-huh. And I would wrap it here first. I
yeah.
don't know how much ink you have right now. I think
I
you're at
think I have
6 ink.
6. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I would have just inked, played Rabbit, ink something, probably Broom, and then play Tinkerbell.
yeah. Okay.
And then we would have had a Tinkerbell, Elsa, Diablo, Rabbit, Tinkerbell board
Not too bad of a
against their
board.
Smee.
Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, against their Smee and the naked Naveen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah. So this one's pretty much
I just throw
over.
everything out
Yep.
and start questing.
Yep.
Yep. No need to be afraid of one
One
Naveen at
Naveen.
this
Yep.
point. Yeah, yeah, just throw everything out.
We'll
She
see.
drew pretty terribly though.
She did. Yes. Yes, she did.
Yeah, she
But
did.
the game we're about to watch, she did not. So she gets her
That's
revenge.
okay. We
But
can take a look at what she could have done
yes.
or what we could have done to avoid that.
Yes.
Hmm.
And that's what she drew the turn she passed was the big Cindy. So
Right. Okay.
yep. Well,
Not
there we
bad.
go. Yep. All right. Well, we pulled it out. A couple mistakes, a couple things to learn from. So, um,
Okay.
but that's the point
It's
of
just
this.
a little bit cleaning up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just a little bit, not as much as the Blurple one as last time. And
yeah. Yeah.
otherwise, it's pretty good.
Yeah. All right. So this is game two. I am on the draw again, and we know that she is SteelSong now. So we saw some of the things she runs, and this is what I
Hmm.
have. So immediately looking at it on the draw against SteelSong, The double 2 drops makes me really excited because I know
Yep.
that in case they play Cindy on 1, then we're going to skip turn 2 to go double 1 drop on turn 2,
Mm-hmm.
correct?
Yep.
So, and then after that, happy to see the crab. And I don't.
Mhm.
So if they play, let's say she plays a Robin Hood on 1. At that point, I
Mhm.
play the broom on 2, or I play the broom on my
Yeah.
1, and then Smee on 2,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You only
So
change the game plan if they play Cinderella.
okay, so in that case, probably keep both brooms, Smee and Crab.
Yeah. That's what I would do.
Okay, let's see what happens. So the Tinkerbell shift line, you're normally only keeping that against SteelSong if you're on the play. Oh, I just went
Well,
1. Yep. So I kept, yeah.
okay.
Yep. So, ugh.
Like the shift line is very greedy,
Mm-hmm.
because your Tinkerbell usually won't live, the 3 cost one. Then
Yep.
your 6 cost is just kind of dead in hand.
Yep.
Because you have to fight board that early against them
Okay.
usually.
Nope. And
And
that makes
so
sense.
how I want to, or how I want you or other people to look at the Tinkerbell shift line is that it's better to use it to take out the second layer of offense from your opponent. So what I
Okay.
mean by that is like the first layer is just them like curving out 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then like once you stabilize, and then your opponent is kind of top decking, and then they're trying to play more cards out, and then they're just trying to get to 20, right? Because you're just behind at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where Tinkerbell comes in because it's a simplified game state. They have limited resources. They don't have all the singers and songs available to them
Mm-hmm.
usually. And so you can land Tinkerbell then, and then you threaten the shift line. And then when you threaten the shift line, you take out all of their cards.
Yeah. Okay.
Whereas trying to get like a Hail Mary early,
Okay. Yep. And
which usually won't work.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense because that's ultimately what I'm going for here, right? With on the draw, keeping that that's really I'm trying to high roll in a deck that is not meant for high rolling. So, um,
Well, I mean, it's nice that you have a high roll card, like
mm-hmm.
potential, but yeah, not like this.
Yep. Well, and I'm feeling pretty good because she skipped turn 1. So no Cindy, no
Yep.
Robin Hood. And I draw into a no, I draw I mulligan in the Chernobogs and draw a strength.
Hmm.
So at this point, ink the broom, play the
Yeah, we're
Chernobogs.
looking good.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. That was she inked 2 big Cindy's at this point. So feeling good there.
Not bad.
Now, is there ever an argue? No, I don't think there is. There ever an argument to just go keep the broom and then go triple 1 drops here, or is there just no need to?
Um, no need to because
Okay.
she only has one singer,
Yep.
unless she like sings Zeus and then hard cast let the Storm Rage on or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that would make
Then they take
sense.
out
So,
everything, but
yeah.
like it's very unlikely that they'll have it
Mm-hmm.
because they don't have the characters to strength a Smee.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And I
Mhm.
quested for 1 here for no good
That's
reason.
probably fine.
Because at least if she
I
does
mean, she
go
could
into it,
attack it, but if they
yep,
attack it, they don't sing, and you can
yep,
take it out, right?
yep.
So it's
So
not the worst thing in the world. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
he's playing a broom deck over there, and my opponent just found out that you can move everything to Sorcerer's Tower, not just brooms.
No,
So one day broom decks will be good.
no, hopefully. It is a purple steel deck.
I know. All right.
Oh, okay. Sing strength. All
Yep.
right.
This is the beginning. All right.
You got to ink your Tinkerbell here.
I know. Yep. And this is where I start getting super greedy. With my with that Tinkerbell shift line of thinking it's all right. I'll be able to get it down. So
Yeah. It's like we talked about before. We need our 1 drops for tempo,
yep.
and we're behind on the board here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Because they have 2 characters, we have 1. despite obviously we don't have another. Well, we do have it play next turn. You would play Tinkerbell and one drop next
Mm-hmm.
turn because oh, a whole new world. Okay.
Yep.
So despite us not having another crab or fox in hand, our opponent doesn't know that, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Strength.
Yep.
Okay. That's fine. Nothing you can do there.
So
However, this is where the one drop would have mattered. You go
yes.
Tinkerbell Broom
Mm-hmm.
on this
Exactly.
turn.
So
Hmm.
because
Now you're
now
stuck.
now I'm stuck because I know Whole New World's coming down next turn. She has one card in hand, which is the Whole New World, and I went Tinkerbell here, and I feel like the right move was get the 2/4 down, not the 1/3 down.
Yeah, Genie just
So,
has better stats.
yep.
Yeah. Like
I,
if they have no strength, at least it doesn't die.
mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Probably has another one, didn't she? She wheels into another one.
Yes, I believe she does. This game. I've never been on the receiving end of a high roll steel song
Yeah.
until this game.
Also, that broom mattered
Yes.
because you would have been able to fox it here
Yes.
if she sings, which she probably does. Yep.
So, yep, that broom was everything. Looking back, because I would
Yeah,
have
because
the
you could
broom.
crab it and then play or fox. I would crab it obviously first.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you would just go crab Calhoun.
Yep. So, and
Yeah.
just yeah, things would be very different right now, potentially. So,
Potentially, yeah. Well, at least they wouldn't have this many singers out, and
correct. Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't have nothing. Yeah.
Now, I believe I end up going wide here, but one of my thoughts was that I could just trade into the aerial. I could go Diablo and Fox to get the aerial
Hmm.
off the board, but yeah, so it looks like I did just decide to go wide, which I
That's
think that
fine.
we kind of talked about this earlier, and do you think that is the right move versus just taking out the aerial and being left with just a Fox on the board? A Fox and a one drop, I think.
You had fox and a one drop. I mean, at this point, you are in a pretty bad spot
Mm-hmm.
already, and I think the game was already over at that point. I mean, not literally over, but
Mm-hmm.
like you would have to hope that they draw no more songs.
Correct.
But she hard casted a Zeus on you. But again, going wider here is the way because
Mm-hmm.
they need more songs to deal with everything, right?
Yeah.
And I probably you inked a Chernobog instead of Diablo, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I definitely would have played the Chernobog instead of Diablo.
Okay. Now, is that just so my thought
It
behind
has
the
better stats. It
yeah.
can fight stuff.
Okay. My thought I was just assuming that my one drop was gonna die no matter what or get banished no matter what, but in case it didn't, it would
Right.
leave me with a 2/1, which, okay. That
Yeah,
makes
I don't think
sense.
they're hitting a Diablo over the other two characters.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're going on you're going on 6 ink, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
you're able to crab your one drop, hit something, and then you're able to fox and then take out two things on the same turn. Yeah, you have to ink the strength here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you have to crab.
Take out the aerial.
Yep.
All right.
I mean, it's good that you saw Pete though.
Mm-hmm. It is. So
So that definitely helped us stall for a turn. And then now you can like fox Pete and kind of stall things out for a little bit. But they shouldn't have had this many characters anyway.
correct. Yep. I think at this point
Yep.
I'm feeling that it's not over. Uh, I
No, it's
definitely,
not over
yeah.
over. Yeah. Unless she has another wheel,
And I
like
don't
shift
remember if
into a
she has
wheel,
it
but
yet. So we are going to see another though.
another song, another strength. Ooh, okay. Just questing out.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah.
All right. Let's see what I do here because I don't remember. And bouncing Pete wouldn't have been a bad idea. Oh,
No.
I think
No.
we're talking about
I'd also
something.
like to mention though
Mm-hmm.
that the turn that you went wide,
Mm-hmm.
I think you should have inked the strength in hindsight.
Okay.
Because that would have been able to keep an extra one drop in your hand.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, Fox is pretty good here. Two
Yes.
foxes actually.
I'm afraid that I don't do the bounce the Pete. I have a bad feeling that I'm about to play Elsa because I don't know. I
No, you definitely
really
go
don't
Elsa
remember what
here.
I do. But I hope it's not play Elsa. Oh
Well,
no.
before you do it, we'll talk about it. You
Yes.
definitely swing both into Robin and Simba here.
Mm-hmm.
And the one drop would have mattered because you would swing the one drop into Smee.
Correct. Yep. The
Yep.
Chernabongs that I should have. Yep.
Yep.
She's not allowed to have her water on the table.
And but yeah, so Chernabog is underrated in the matchup because it
Mm-hmm.
checks me,
Yep.
right?
Exactly.
And it takes out Piglet if they have it, takes out the baby shift lines,
Mm-hmm.
Cinderella. Not that weak.
No, I hate seeing a Chernabogs when I'm playing SteelSong because it means that my Smee just kind of sits there. Yep, I knew I didn't know, you big fool. All right, so and then I bounce. I probably take out the Ursula. Yep,
Yep.
and then I
So we
bounce
should
the
have had
Fox. Yep.
we should have had a Fox and Pete here, and then
Mm-hmm.
they shouldn't have had a Simba, but they should have a Smee. Like you can argue that you still take out Smee regardless,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Just
but
not with Pete.
and that
Like.
because of Rapunzel,
Mm-hmm.
right? But what I'm prioritizing is more board presence
Yeah.
so that you have the Pete available, and then they can't sing this turn, so all they can do is attack.
Yep.
And then if they do quest, well, and then they wouldn't be able to do that.
Yep. Exactly.
And then all they could do is wait or quest the Pete or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then because that Pete would have bought you a turn from Let the Storm Rage on, then you would play or Elsa or something,
Yep. And then I would still have an extra
and you would take
Fox,
out Cinderella's.
so I'd be
You would
able to
still have
bounce the
Fox. You would
Pete.
still have a Pete up.
Yep.
Exactly, and you would just bounce Pete again one more time, take out those things.
Yep.
Yeah, because now it just feels bad that you're having to bounce a character like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Oh man. Yeah. So a couple big. Yeah. I misused the repeat bounce. The repeat bounce.
Hmm.
Just how powerful that is, and then or just a couple times where I just valued the wrong things. Got tunnel
Hmm.
vision on the Tink shift line, things like that. So even though she did see so many songs, like I very
You
much
could have still pulled it out.
yes, I very much lost this game of my own
Yeah.
misplays.
Well, I don't know if we would have won, but
Mm-hmm.
it would definitely be closer
Yeah, than it was.
than what it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it would have definitely been closer. Um, and but I think it started with all the one drops. Like
Yep. Again.
everything in purple always goes back to the one drops.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because here she drops a
Like it
Rapunzel.
seems inconsequential, right? Like, oh, we're just gonna play Diablo instead of Chernobog, but then
Mm-hmm.
like that kind of changes the whole outcome of the game, or it's just like not playing the one drop, or inking the one drop, and not playing it beside Tinkerbell kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here I think we'll just kind of and oh the Robin Hood, and I double Zeus the Robin Hood. Just
Okay.
trying to stay alive as long as humanly possible.
Oh yeah, there's not much else you can do.
Yep. So
I would have drawn first
just to
if you're gonna
see.
draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, just to see what the outs are first. If you find Whole New World, which is fine, you have
Hmm.
Elsa in hand. Yeah, you're just fighting for your life,
I know
kid.
I am. I'm just holding on. All the way down here at 3 lore. Oh
I just
man.
hope she doesn't play like Baloo or something. Then you're dead.
I think she played, yeah, the Rapunzel, and I finally run out of answers. So,
Nope, you
yeah.
still have an answer. Oh no, but you're dead.
Unfortunately, yep. Unfortunately, that Diablo. If it would have been a Chernobog's or Broom,
Anything
yep, yeah,
or
anything,
Broom.
literally anything. So,
Anything but Diablo.
well, sweet. Well, that was the game I lost, and then the third game it goes. Um, we'll talk about the Mulligan, but instead of going through the whole thing, I actually do use the repeat. So I remember to use it that game, and
Okay.
and that's ultimately how I pull that game through. Is I developed it. Well, I'm on the play. I got the shift tink down, and then
Mm-hmm.
to close things out, I just go Pete, and then I bounce Pete to play Pete again, and at that point,
Right.
my board was just way too wide, along with having a shift tink down. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, but looking at this hand, I no, come on, cooperate. Okay. I'm trying to see what that card is on the end. I think, okay, it's a crab. Okay, so we got crab, Elsa, broom, crab, Zeus, Elsa, and goat. So, on the play, I really want to see a 2 drop. I have my 1 drop that I'm happy
Mm-hmm.
with. Really want to see a 2 drop, and I'm fine with the crab. So, I believe get rid of Zeus, Elsa, goat, and then, or
You
do,
can make an argument to ship the crab as well because you're on the play, so you're not
mm-hmm.
really fighting
Okay.
anything.
Would you get
And
rid
she
of
doesn't
both
have Daisy,
crabs?
so it's like, yeah, yeah, you can make
Okay.
an argument for that. If you want to play it safer, you can.
Okay. And that's
Yeah,
that's just and so going that heavy mulligan to really trying to guarantee we get that 2 drop essentially.
yeah, or like double ones or something like
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Would do
Yeah,
you ever hold on to an Elsa on the play or against
no,
no, okay. Just too slow.
no, yep.
Okay. So let's see. Let's see what I do.
Like this is fine to
Okay.
keep a crab, or I'd probably just keep one if anything, if you want it to be safer. Yeah,
And
yeah.
looks
So
yep.
if you want it to be safe, you keep one. But you can make an argument both ways. I don't
Mhm.
think it's incorrect either way to with either one because this at least guarantees you a 3 drop.
Yep.
But because the deck has so many, um,
Odds are I'd get one before the turn comes
yeah,
anyways. So,
yeah, exactly.
well, sweet. So I ink Tinkerbell, go Broom, and then yeah. As far as how this plays out, no 2 drop still. So let's see if I draw a 2 drop or if I end up having to skip that.
Well, I
But
like to know your second card if it was a 2 drop. Oh, you're so lucky.
yep, I am.
So you would have. Yeah,
Whew.
that's fine.
Yeah, that would have been okay. So
If you didn't
even
see a one or two, you've been disastrous because they just storm you and then you
mhm.
have nothing.
Now, even though so you would have even without seeing a 2 drop, would you have still always played Broom on one?
Yeah,
Okay, because
yeah,
I mean
you have to.
ultimately, yeah, you have to. So okay, so here I just ink the crab, play the
Hmm.
play the broom. So and then
Yep.
ultimately, what's going to end up happening is I get the Tinkerbell down. She can't answer it, and then I get the shift Tinkerbell down, and then from there it all kind of starts to roll downhill. So, but
Right.
I don't know. Did you want to watch it out or
We can watch it quicker, I guess. We don't
okay?
need to spend so much time going through every
Yeah.
line. Yeah.
Where's the playback speed? How fast does 1.5 get? Okay, so she
That should be
sings,
fine.
takes out a broom, and then here, oh, so I do think, so I do, I am curious. I'm glad we watched it because I am curious what you think here. Um, So she has the Cindy for me to take out, and I'm about to ink this Pete and play the crab to take it out, but then it leaves it open to Smee. And what I think I should have done is probably ink a Strength or the Tinkerbell to play the Pete. So probably ink the Tinkerbell, play the Pete, and then I
I
could
don't think you
sing
need to play
Strength.
Pete here. Well, if you okay, so if you were gonna play Pete,
Mm-hmm.
then you lost your opportunity to take out Cinderella, right?
Yep. Okay.
Because you're
So,
on the play, they don't really develop a singer till turn three, unless it
mm-hmm.
was Vanessa on the board, but they didn't have it.
Yeah.
All right, so here you would take out Cinderella,
Okay.
which is fine, but
Mm-hmm.
playing Pete there wouldn't accomplish anything.
Okay. All right. And my only okay, no, that makes sense. And I guess my only worry when I was rewatching this, um, is if they played Ariel, I would have no way to handle Ariel. Um, and I would just open myself up to a
That's
whole
why I
new
think you
world.
have to let go of the Tinkerbell line.
Yep. Yep. So got that tunnel vision. Here I do get lucky, because she doesn't take out my broom here. Um, she decides to just quest, which in retrospect, I think it would have been a much different game if she had just taken out the broom here.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so there's the aerial, and I okay, seize a strength. Yep, and there's the quest. So feeling blessed at this point because I drop. I think this is where I drop the tink. Drop the
The
tink to
Tinkerbell.
sing strength. Yep. Take out the aerial.
Yep.
So, so I didn't ink that turn, and I could have inked to play the broom, but I would have had to ink the big tink, and I didn't ultimately
No, you
ink.
don't. You don't ink it there.
Okay, all right, and I didn't ink the broom in case I didn't see. Um, I guess I don't know. I guess there was no good reason not to ink the broom there, knowing what I was going to do. Um,
Hmm.
all right, another aerial. I think she whiffs here. Yep, blessed.
Not bad. Not bad.
Mm-hmm. And then hopefully takes out. I don't know if she takes out the crab here either. So we talked about it earlier. Didn't respect. I don't think she respected the. Yep. So
Just
didn't
quested.
respect
Yeah.
the possibility of a shift tink. So here ink that. Go big tink. Um.
Hmm. And it's over.
Mm, not a lot now. Now if she had Zeus. Um. I don't remember. I don't think she does though.
You might
So
as well quest your broom there as well.
okay. And that's I think I've talked about this before is I'm doing better with my one drops, but sometimes I wonder if I'm not
Yeah.
aggressive enough with them. So
Well, it's like you have a Tinkerbell and Crab on the board. Is she
yeah,
really gonna attack the broom?
yeah, no, that's a good point. That is a good point as well.
So it's like what like so it's just like one lore you could have squeaked out here,
Mm-hmm.
and it didn't matter in this game, I'm assuming, but it might have mattered
All right,
like
sings a
later
whole
on,
new
like
world.
that one lore.
Yeah.
'Cause I'm sure people that watch this video often, sometimes when they're playing, they lose by like one or two
One
lore,
more. Yep.
and And so I tell people all the time, if you lose by one or two lore, that's usually because of your own misplay.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure if you watch back your game, there could have been one or two instances you could have quested, but you chose not to quest because you chose to attack or sing or not do anything or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. No, and I think
Yep.
you're right. And that I kind of talk about that with SteelSong a lot of when people are losing to red blue by one or two lore. It's like, well, did you quest with Cindy early on? Like, when you were
Mm-hmm.
afraid to. So, all
Mm-hmm.
right, take out
Why
the
don't you take out
Simba.
Lilo?
Just in case they had the shift. Because I don't. She said later. She revealed later on that she did have the shift line, just never saw it. So I just didn't want to give her that
Hmm.
opportunity for a big singer.
I
And
thought you were playing Pete anyway.
that's a good point. So Yeah. Yeah, that's a
That's
good
what I
point.
thought you were gonna. Actually, that's
Yep.
what I think you're gonna do. You're gonna play Pete
Yeah.
Smee here.
That's a good point. I guess it wouldn't have mattered if,
No, it doesn't matter too much. It's
yeah.
just
Because even if
because
they,
like with your board, I'm not really concerned about a shift Simba.
yeah. Do I go double one drop?
I hope you play Pete.
I do too. Okay. Don't let me
Okay,
down.
well, if you do this line, then you don't need to Pete because there's nothing they can possibly sing.
Oh, yep. That's okay. So then I just go wide with the one, or okay. All right. Yep.
Right.
So that's why I
That's
didn't play
fine.
Pete there. Okay. I knew I had a
Okay.
reason. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. All right. Many ways to skin a cat, right?
Yep.
Down here, it's the on my phone, it's the DLC.
Yeah.
I guess I was a little bit distracted throughout this locals. So,
Fair enough.
all right. Sweet. All right. And now probably Pete shenanigans at this point. I would assume. Yep.
Yep.
And then just drop the crab just for a body. Oh, I want a different inkable and I don't get it. So, um,
Mm.
so I was thinking about inking the snake or the goat to just get another body down. But ultimately I didn't want to lose the snake goat combo. Um,
Mhm.
so what do you now in hindsight probably just keep the Chernobyls and then just ink the snake and play the crab. Just again going super wide. Um, do you think that was the route or just leave it alone?
Another option you could have done is just like Quest Tinkerbell, bounce it back.
Oh,
And then, so basically, they know Tinkerbell's on the board for next turn.
yep.
Because if
Okay.
you attack it, you give them a draw two here.
Yep. Okay. And that was one thing I was worried about was the Rapunzel value, and I was like, well, there's no way around it. But no,
Yep.
that was yeah. Hmm. Okay.
Because yeah, because you could bounce the Tinkerbell back. You have both back in your hand. You can
Mm-hmm.
ink the little one. And then next turn you can just replay the big one.
Mm-hmm.
Because if they know the big one's in hand, they know they can't quest anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Okay.
So let's see if they have Rapunzel. That would suck, but
Um,
seems like they don't.
both my Semi need one damage on them as well.
Hmm. That's it.
Yep. That's all they did. They took out Tinkerbell, and both my Semis still need one damage. Ah, there we go. Yep. And now I go Pete shenanigans. So that's
Well, then
two.
there's a need to Pete there. You just Elsa take it out and call it a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point as well. So, because yeah, if they don't have any singers, then Pete doesn't do anything anyways. She would have hard casted a
Yeah,
whole new
exactly.
world, but what would we have cared about?
That's
Like,
fine.
yep.
That's fine. Yep.
Well, sweet.
Okay.
Well, there we go. All right, man. Well, we got another commentary for everyone. Any I don't know, last words of advice for people that are jumping onto Purple Steel?
Yeah, so here's the takeaway from the games that we watched. So number one is make sure that you think through which one drops are the most important in the matchup, and which ones we should be inking. Um, think 2 to 3 turns ahead. So especially either at 3 and 4 ink and 5, are you able to play 2 characters a turn into Amber Steel? Because that's how we break serve. That's how we're able to stabilize a little bit better
Mm-hmm.
by playing more characters to the board. Because as long as we play as many or more than your opponent, they can't really quest for that reason. And that's why we even play 12 drops. They're not just free ink. They're there to weave in between turns.
Mm-hmm.
Because we saw how important it was to have those one drops available, right?
Mm-hmm.
hmm And then the other thing is don't get tunnel vision for the Tinkerbell shift line.
Yep.
Usually it's not going to happen. You just normally want it to happen organically,
Mm-hmm.
or otherwise you use it as to remove their second layer of offense
Mm-hmm.
later on in the game, as opposed to at the very beginning, because most likely they're going to have removal for Little Tink because
Yeah.
she's not that strong.
Okay.
Um, and then the last thing would be knowing when to Pete and bounce Pete.
Okay.
I think Pete is one of the higher skill cards in the game to use because you really have to put it down at the right time,
Mm-hmm.
or it's just like very useless.
Okay. No, and that's a good point. I mean, we saw it there. Like I didn't even have to Pete. She had one Cinderella and I had an Elsa in hand, so I could have just laid down a nice big 2/5 body versus a Pete, and so that would have been
hmm
rather nice as well. So no, that's a really good point as well. So still work to do on the one drops. Little bit better than I was doing, but still some work.
I would say a lot better at managing your one drops and maintaining tempo on board
Mhm.
comparing to the last time we talked about the Blurple game.
Yeah.
This one's definitely much improved.
Well, good. I'm glad it's going up and not down. That's always what we want to see.
Hey, you didn't win, you didn't top a set champ for nothing.
Hey, there we go. There we go, right? So, well, sweet, man. Of course, to shout you out for everybody, if you are newer, if you're not on the 20 Lord Discord, this is JDRR. It'll probably be in the intro as well, but definitely check out his Metafy. He has his free guides on there. They're super extensive guides for Purple Steel as well as Blurple. The man's been playing Purple since the beginning of forever. OG Pixelborn player, top 25 multiple times, and yeah, check his stuff out. And he taught me the majority of what I know. So just an amazing guy. And so yeah, anything to add before we send off?
Um, I guess for the people watching this before set champs, good luck. Hopefully you see this before you show up on the weekend and play. Because other than that, we don't really have anything to play for, I guess. And then we'll have set seven around the corner, so then everything's going to change once again.
Mm-hmm.
However, just because new cards can be introduced doesn't mean the fundamentals and the concepts we talked about in the video will change.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
Yeah, that won't change because
Mm-hmm.
that's how Lorcana works in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like keep practicing the deck or just keep practicing. Um, like I mentioned last time, and don't be afraid to critique your own gameplay, because if the goal really is to get better and improve, that's the best way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying everyone has like, DLC Continentals aspirations, because not everyone does, but I'm almost certain no one likes to lose every time they go to locals.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you're having fun, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't feel good to lose all the time. You can't win all the time either, obviously.
Oh yeah. No, that's a good point, man. And it is about having fun, but sometimes the wins definitely help add to that, especially if you're going to a store that does like packs for each win and things like that.
Right.
So, no, so
Right.
yeah.
Or it's just like, like I'm sure you see it too. Like those newer players who've never topped the set champs before and they top eight for the very first time,
Mhm.
and like the excitement that they feel when they top eight,
Oh
things
yeah.
like that, right? Like
Oh yeah.
it's like for those people, it's like a very big accomplishment, right?
Mhm. No, it,
Yeah.
it it is, and you see it on their faces in their Facebook photos, right? When I've got a scar for the first time, and
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
so it's always awesome to see. That's why I like doing these set champs videos that I've been doing, of just showcasing people's decks and the some of the craziness that we see in some of them, because they are pretty wild sometimes. One of the ones coming out is going to be a blue steel locations deck, so that he topped and got
Hey,
a playmat with. Wild. So, but I'm getting off
hey,
subject.
you can do it.
Yes, you can do it. So fundamentals, and that's what this is about. Like you said, in the next set, there's a good chance that we're going to add stuff to Purple Steel and Blurple, but the fundamentals of how you play Purple isn't going to change unless they come down and say, a bounce package is eroded or banned. Like
Mm-hmm.
how you play Purple is going to stay the same. So just getting those
Right.
fundamentals
And
down.
yeah. And it's interesting because every deck, not just purple decks right now, like the lists are so tight because there's just so many good cards in the
Mm,
game. And so they're going to introduce more and there's going to be more cards that we can play. But if you look at the list right now, it's like, what are we cutting?
yeah.
Like, what is actually not good in these lists, right? Everything
Mm-hmm.
is just such a good card in
Mm-hmm.
general. So I'd be interested to see like how things are going to shape up
Oh
once
yeah.
more things are revealed, and how we're going to, refine these lists further because it's already like all the good cards. Like, how
Yeah.
much more can we play?
Yeah, no, I feel you. And luckily, I will leave that to the deck building experts like you, and I'll just sit back and watch and like be like, oh yeah, this does feel good. I like this because you're right. What do we? I mean, we get what a better one cantrip or a three cost goat. I mean, what do we add at this point? And that's I can't wait to see. So hopefully,
Yeah, like you can't cut Smee, you can't cut the one drops, you can't
mm-hmm,
cut the bounce package, you can't cut Crab, can't cut Pete. Like maybe you can argue that Rose you can be cut if there's a better three drop, but
mm-hmm,
like other than that, and maybe Genie, maybe Elsa, but like not really.
yeah,
The kind of well, Genie and Rose are probably the most cuttable cards in the deck right now.
mm-hmm,
Everything else, at least right now, feels like you can't really cut them. Like they've been in the deck since time.
yeah. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, before Diablo's, it was what Olaf's like. It was still another one drop. Like, um,
We usually played like 8 to 10. So the mid-range builds didn't play 12 one drops
hmm
because you didn't have to. Meta was a lot slower back then.
okay. No, yeah.
But like now it's just like these are just the superior one drops to everything out there in these two colors. It's
hmm
like, why aren't you playing them? Especially when you're with four crabs, they just make all the one drops better, same as Fox. Like
Tac.
they turn them into, like I said, four threes. They
Yep.
can do something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, tactical nukes. That's what I call them. Little tactical nukes. You know. But yeah, like you can't argue with a
Especially
five
Diablo.
one. Oh yeah, especially Diablo. Like, let me blow up anything and then draw a card. Like, how good does that feel? So. Well, sweet
Yep.
man. Yeah, this was awesome. Again, appreciate you coming on, and I know everybody else will as well. We're recording this on Monday, and I'm gonna work to get it live tomorrow afternoon, so everybody can have
Wait.
plenty of time before set champs, and that way they can bug you on the 20 Lord Discord. So,
Wait.
well, sweet. Any
All right.
last
Well,
words?
appreciate you as always.
All right,
Appreciate you
same to
having
you,
me
man.
on. Yep.
All right, until next time. Remember, everyone,
All
happy and
right.
healthy.